Vishnupad Ashtatarashatashmad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosvāmī Mahārāja Srila Gurudeva ki jai. Untitled Chapter Vishnupad Ashtatarashatashmad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. Untitled Chapter Vishnupad Ashtatarashatashmad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Mahārāja Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Untitled Chapter Vishnupad Ashtatarashatashmad Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. Untitled Chapter Vishnupad Ashtatarashatashmad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosvāmī Prabhupada ki jai. Nitil Pravishta Mahabhagavat Srila Gorksharas Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Nitil Pravishta Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Nitil Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai. Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Patadash Raghunath Shar Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramananda Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki jai. Namachay Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Braja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Sarva Abhishtapadata Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. Shri Radha Kund Shama Kund ki jai. Shri Mona Devi Ganga Devi ki jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki jai. Shri Bhakti Devi ki jai. Shri Purnamasi Yoga Maya ki jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Śrī Rāya Rāmananda ki jai. Tatiya Shubha Tirabha Titi ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Alright, should we do a kirtan first? Okay, let's do a kirtan first. Which kirtan should we do? Actually, you know what? This time I'm just going to get into reading and we will do a kirtan afterwards. Just because I started late today and I had to do a video for our Shloka class. So that's why I'm late. Alright. So we'll read this by my Gurudev, Introduction to Rāya Rāmananda Sambad. This was given by my Gurudev in Maui, Hawaii, May 24th, year 2000. Śrīla Rāya Rāmananda's discussions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as described in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita are eternally fresh and ever increasingly nourishing for us. During Śrīla Gurudev's 14 years of World Harikatha festivals, this discussion was one of his favorite topics to benedict us as lost souls of this world. The following is a transcription of this extremely interesting lecture given in Maui, Hawaii on May 24th, 2000, wherein he talks about the first part of their discussion. So this is the introduction to Rāya Rāmananda Sambad. Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Come with me. Let us join Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in our minds as he went from Puri to South India to search for his brother Vishwarup. This was only a pretext, however. Actually, Mahaprabhu wanted to make all of South India and the entire world pure devotees. He wanted them all to chant and remember Krishna and be happy forever. Without chanting, no one can be happy in this world. You should know this. Mahaprabhu told everyone who came to him, Jare dekho tare koho Krishna upadesh, Amar agyay guru hoya tar desh. Or han tar desh. Yeah. Amar agyay guru han tar desh. I am telling you, and you should also tell everyone you meet. Chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And then in turn, that person will tell others. By my order, you should preach this to others. Very soon, all of South India began to chant, and all became Vaishnavas. This was the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and in this way, his message very quickly went all over the world. I have also come here only to tell you how you can be truly happy. Chant Hare Krishna. This is a very easy process to become happy, and I am inviting you all to follow. Those who are not yet following will benefit by following. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thus went to the sacred river Godavari, and there he thought, "Oh, here is the Yamuna." He saw a beautiful forest there and thought, "This is the very beautiful forest of Vrindavan." When he saw some rocks and mountains, he thought, "Oh, you are Giriraj Govardhan." He was thus absorbed in love and affection for Lord Krishna. He forgot everything external and was absorbed in dancing. Sometimes he was rolling on the earth, crying, "Oh, my beloved Krishna, where are you? Where are you?" Sometimes he laughed, and sometimes he sang, "Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare." Oh, sorry. Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare. Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare. Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava Rakshamam. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava Pahimam. He then crossed the Godavari river to take bath. It was morning, and he arrived at a very lonely place near the bathing ghat. In the meantime, the governor of that area, named Rai Ramananda, came with many associates and thousands of Vedic Brahmins who were reciting Vedic mantras, announcing with a big drum that he was coming. Ramananda Rai took bath there, and then he noticed that a very brilliant, effulgent young sannyasi was nearby, sitting in trance. He was very much attracted, and after taking bath, he left all his attendants, soldiers, and everyone else, and went alone to the place where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was sitting. There he offered obeisances. Mahaprabhu looked at him and asked, "Are you Rai Ramananda?" "Yes, I am that very same wretched person," Rai Ramananda replied. "When I was in Jagannath Puri," Mahaprabhu told him, "a very learned person, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, was very kind to me. He told me that if I would be going to South India, I must meet Rai Ramananda. He said, even though he is a governor, like a viceroy or a representative of the king in that area, he is a greatly learned and high-class devotee." Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had also told Mahaprabhu, "At first I could not believe him, and I used to joke with him, saying, 'Oh, you are a Vaishnav. Vaishnavas are nothing. They are blind followers.' But then I realized that he is an exalted personality, and I pray that if you are going in that direction, you must meet him. You will see what a high class of devotee he is. Please be merciful to him." "That is why I have come," Mahaprabhu then told Rai Ramananda, "only to associate with you. Otherwise, there is no reason for me to come here. I want to hear Hari Katha from you." Rai Ramananda replied, "Because you have come here, I know that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is my well-wisher. He has sent you. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is so kind to send you to me. I beg that you stay here for 6 or 7 days, not only for 1 or 2 days. Please be merciful. Please sprinkle your mercy upon me." In this way they glorified each other. And this is the etiquette of Vaishnava devotees. Nowadays you have forgotten this etiquette, and that is why you are falling down. We should try to honor each other. We should honor all devotees. Those who are not pure devotees will simply tell each other about their mundane problems. "My husband has left me. My wife has left me. Should I marry or not? This is a very big problem. I am unsuccessful in what I began. I am in the process of divorce. My business has stopped. What should I do?" We speak only about these problems. This is not Vaishnava etiquette. A Vaishnava has no problem at all. He is always happy, and he can make even hippies happy. I remember that Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Mahārāja made thousands upon thousands of hippies happy. He changed them, and they became devotees. They became really happy. While Mahaprabhu was speaking with Rai Ramananda, a Brahmin came and invited Mahaprabhu to his house to take lunch prasad. He was a real Brahmin and Vaishnava, and Mahaprabhu therefore wanted to go there and take prasad. He requested Rai Ramananda, "You must certainly meet me in the evening." Both waited in anticipation of their evening meeting. Rai Ramananda changed his royal garments, donned only a very simple dhoti, and arrived with only one associate. He had no royal umbrella, no palanquin, and no bodyguard. Alone, he offered prostrated obeisances to Mahaprabhu. They sat together for the whole night, and then for so many days. Their Krishna kathā continued in a regulated way, from evening to morning, with no sleep and no interruptions. Just checking the connection still going? Okay, it is. Yeah, hippie's happy. Okay. Śrī Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Rāya Rāmananda, I know you are a very high-class devotee. You are so learned. You know all the scriptures, and you are a master of Srimad Bhagavatam. I will therefore ask you some questions, and I request that you reply by giving examples from those scriptures. I will not give your replies any importance if you do not give evidence from the scriptures. We should always know what constitutes real evidence. So many persons tell so many things, but this is not evidence. Evidence comes from the Vedas and Upanishads, and also from the words of any high-class devotee who is none of the four defects: Brahm, the tendency to commit mistakes; Pramad, the tendency to be illusioned; Vipralipsa, the tendency to cheat; and Karanapatav, imperfect senses. So that person who's free from these four defects, his words can be taken as evidence. What is it? There's a verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita. How does it go? Brahma pramad vipralipsa karanapatav harsha vigya vake nahi dosha esab. Anyways, those who have whatever. Sorry. His words can be taken as evidence. That's what it means, basically. In addition to the Shastras, which are in accordance with the Vedas, like Śrī Chaitanya Charitamrita, the books of the 6 Gosvāmīs, and the 4 Acharyas of the 4 Sampradayas, all these are evidence. The strongest and purest evidence, however, is the words of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Mahaprabhu told Rāya Rāmananda, if you offer evidence from the Vedas, Upanishads, and the Bhagavatam, I will surely accept. So his first question was, what is sadhya, the goal of life, and what is sadhan, the means to attain that goal? In the morning class, I told that all living entities have come out of the glance of Karna Daksha Vishnu. They cannot be created, for they are eternal, but they are coming from the light, the sight of Karna Daksha Vishnu. You should know what light is. The dim reflection of that light is a combination of the semblance of Chit Shakti, the semblance of the Tatashta, or marginal energy, plus Vibhinangsha Tattva, plus Maya Shakti. The mixture of these four is called Shambhu Linga. It is from there that the jivas are coming. Oh, we read this yesterday when we were reading about Advaita Acharya, right? Shambhu Linga is a semblance of Sadashiva Tattva. And Sadashiva Tattva is a form of Vishnu Tattva. And Maya, the deluding material energy, must also be present, for without Maya, there can be no creation at all. All this mixing becomes Shambhu Tattva, or Shambhu Linga, and by this, the creation comes. The creation of what? This gross material body and subtle material body. The soul is not created, but these two are created. We should know all these truths, that the living entities are not created, but rather they are in eternal potency. It is not possible to give more explanation than this at this time. We will have to realize this all by chanting Harinam. We'll have to realize all this by chanting Harinam. When your chanting of the holy name becomes pure, when the holy name you chant is actually the name of God Himself, and not an offense to the holy name or a semblance of the holy name, not Namaparad or Namabhas, when that name becomes transcendental, Shuddhanam, then you will realize all truths. By mental exercise, you will never be able to realize anything. By chanting, you will realize Krishna Tattva, Maya Tattva, Bhakti Tattva, Jiva Tattva, and everything else. Then, after that, at some point, you will have to forget all material considerations, and you will have to know that Krishna is your bosom friend, your son, or your most beloved. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Mahārāja, your Prabhupada, came to tell you that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But he told me to tell you all that you should now forget that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And now that time has come. He wants me to tell you that you should now think of Krishna as a bosom friend, or a beloved, or a son, and he is your everything. In this way, our bhakti, our devotion to him, should increase. Now we come again to our subject. Can you read Mahaprabhu's first question to Rai Ramananda according to Srila Swami Mahārāja's translation? Now Prem Prayojan Prabhu reads. Wait, he was still a Ranyamaj at this time. I'm going to call him a Ranyamaj because that's what he was at this time. This is when he was still a sannyasi. Right? Because did he take sannyas before in 2000? Maybe he was still Prem Prayojan. Okay, I'll say Prem Prayojan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered Ramananda Rai to recite a verse from the scriptures concerning sadhya, the ultimate goal of life. Srila Gurudeva. I am explaining Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Mahārāja, your Guru, what Srila Swami Mahārāja, your Gurudev has explained. I am not in a different line from him. I follow him. What did Rai Ramananda reply? He explained sadhya, the goal. He did not merely explain sadhan, the means to attain the goal. Sripad Madhav Maharaj. So Gurudev had him speak. Mahaprabhu asked Ramananda Rai about the goal of life. He did not first ask about sadhan, the means. He wanted to establish the goal first. Ramananda Rai replied, Varnashrama charavata purushena parapuman Vishnur aradhate panta nanyat tattoshakaranam. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 858. This means, it is imperative to follow Varnashram Dharma. There are 4 Varnas and 4 Ashrams. Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudras are the 4 Varnas, our occupational duties, and the 4 Ashrams, or spiritual orders, are Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. You may be in any Varna or any Ashram, but it is essential to maintain Varnashram Dharma. In this way you can please Vishnu, and there is no other means. Hearing this answer, Mahaprabhu said that Varnashram Dharma is external, eho bahya. Why? Why did Mahaprabhu not accept it as the goal of life? This is because there is no explanation about the soul. Varnashram Dharma is required only to maintain our social system. In Srimad Bhagavatam it is stated, Savai Pungsam Paro Dharmo. The best religion for the soul is uninterrupted and one-pointed devotion to Vishnu. By this, the soul and the supersoul will both be pleased. But here, in the case of Varnashram, there is no proof that the soul and the supersoul will be pleased. It is like karma mishra bhakti, bhakti mixed with the desire to enjoy the results of fruitive activities. Not sarup siddha bhakti, activities constituted purely of bhakti, such as hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna, or Vishnu. Therefore, Mahaprabhu said it is external. It is not pure bhakti, and he therefore rejected it as the pure goal. Now, Ramananda Rai is going ahead. Now we shall hear from Srila Gurudev. Is this Gurudev speaking now? I forgot to put. Anyways, I guess so. In this Varnashram Dharma, it is recommended that one worships Vishnu. What is our object? The process is worship of Vishnu. But what is the aim of that worship? We want to be happy in this world, and most persons' conception is that Vishnu will give a boon so that we will be happy. Above this is salvation, freedom from attachment, and merging with Vishnu. This is people's conception of God's boon, but actually, this is like a curse, not a boon. Neither should we try to merge with Krishna, nor should we try to do anything for becoming happy by sense gratification in this world, which is temporary. In this country, America, there is an itching disease called, how do you say that? I don't even know how you say it. Let's see. Eczema. It's a medical condition in which patches of skin become rough and inflamed with blisters. Okay. In this condition, we scratch, and this scratching seems to be very pleasant. But it is a disease after all, and after some time it will become very painful. This world is such. Worldly life is like an itch, a disease. By worshipping Lord Vishnu, we can give this up and be happy for some time. But again the itch will come. Similarly, Varnashram Dharma is external. There is no service to the soul, only external service for the body. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Mahārāja and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur have tried to establish this Varnashram Dharma. Why? By following it, we will at least be human beings. Otherwise, we are animals. First we should be human, because humanity is a platform for bhakti. First we should make a platform, and then we can hear Hari Katha. In order to make gradual spiritual advancement, Varnashram is somewhat favorable, but not fully. Therefore, Mahaprabhu is telling Ramananda Rai to go further. Is there any doubt in this? Our aim is not to follow Varnashram Dharma. Srila Swami Mahārāja told his disciples to create Varnashram Dharma in Gitanagari, New Vrindavan, New Mayapur, and so many other places. He wanted to establish this, but only as a platform. Where are most of these projects now? They are gone. Now there's mostly barren land, and that barren land is weeping. Nothing substantial is there. Shamarani Mataji. Śrī Rāya Rāmananda quoted Bhagavad Gita. All that you do, all that you give away, and all that you offer in sacrifice should be done for me. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also rejected this proposal to be the goal, considering it external, because everything we do is for our own satisfaction. Whatever activity I do in this world has a karmic reaction. Even if it is a pious action and I get a pious reaction, I still have to suffer in this world. If I give someone a lot of money, in my next life I will be rich. However, in that next life, I still have to take birth in a womb and accept old age, disease, and death. The motive is my own personal sense gratification. Mahaprabhu rejected this as not being the perfection. He again told Ramananda Rai to go further, and Rai Ramananda then offered the conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharma Parityaja, give up all varieties of so-called religious activities and surrender everything to me. In return, I will free you from all fear and all sinful reactions. Mahaprabhu rejected this as the goal. It is better than animal life, better than having nothing to do with Krishna. So why did Lord Chaitanya reject it? Again, it was external, because it was related to the body. I want Krishna to free me from fear, so I have a personal motivation. I am not trying to please Krishna, but I want Krishna's protection for my body and for my mental and intellectual comfort. This is like a business proposition. If I do something for Krishna, then he will do something for me. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected it as not being the goal. Real devotion means that there is no material cause and no material interruption. Srila Gurudeva. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there are so many examples of this. One example is the story of King Harish Chandra. He was a very powerful Kshatriya king in Varnashram Dharma, and he used to worship Lord Vishnu. He was very truthful. He never told a lie. He never accepted any untruth, and he was very generous to all creatures. One day, Vishwamitra, a high-class surrendered devotee, came in a dream to Harish Chandra and told him, You are very generous, a truthful speaker, a very good king, and you always worship Vishnu. I know that if I ask anything from you, you will definitely give it. So I want something from you. In the dream, Vishwamitra told the king that he wanted to give his whole kingdom, and the king said, Yes, I am giving it to you. After that dream was over, the king forgot all about it. In the morning, Vishwamitra himself came to Harish Chandra and asked him if he remembered the previous night's dream. Harish Chandra said, I don't remember anything. What was that? Oh, you asked for my kingdom and I gave it to you. Vishwamitra said, So you should give it to me. Harish Chandra replied, But that wasn't a dream. Actually, it was not a dream, Vishwamitra said. I really came to you. Harish Chandra knew the mystic abilities of powerful sages and believed him. So he said, Yes, I take a vow that I am giving you the kingdom. This whole kingdom is now yours. Vishwamitra then told him to give some dakshina, a donation of money. In India, if anyone donates anything, he gives some coins as well to consummate the donation. And therefore Vishwamitra asked him to give some dakshina. Harish Chandra called his treasurer and told him to give 10,000 gold coins to Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra smiled and told him, You are a liar. You gave me your entire kingdom, and now your treasury is mine also. So how can you tell the treasurer to give gold to me? It is already mine. Harish Chandra agreed and therefore wanted to take a loan from someone in the kingdom. But Vishwamitra said, Now all the citizens are also mine, and you may not take a loan from anyone in my kingdom. Next, Harish Chandra decided to sell himself, but Vishwamitra said, in my kingdom you cannot sell even yourself. The king then became perplexed about what to do, thinking that he had done wrong. He asked Vishwamitra, what should I do? Please give me some suggestions. Vishwamitra told him, go to Kashi, which is situated on the trident of Shankar. It is not in this world. There you can sell yourself, and you can pay me. But you must always remember that you have to pay me. Harish Chandra went to Kashi with his wife and son on foot, because all his chariots and everything else now belonged to Vishwamitra. After many days, he reached Kashi and began calling out to the people that they could purchase him. A low-class person, the guard of the cremation grounds, told him that he would buy him and that he would have to do duty at the cremation grounds. Harish Chandra accepted this because there was no one else to purchase him, but the guard gave only 5,000 golden coins. He needed more, and therefore he sold his wife Sadhya and son Rohitasya. A very cruel Brahmin gave 5,000 coins and took them both. If you sell a cow, then you are no longer its owner. Similarly, now Harish Chandra was not the king, nor was his husband, nor the husband of his wife, nor was he any longer the father of his child. He had some false ego, however, considering that he used to be, or still was, a king, and that he still was the husband of Sadhya, and the father of Rohitasya. After a while, it happened that a snake came and bit his son, and he died. It was midnight during the rainy season. Very cold winds were blowing, and very heavy rain was falling. The Brahmin told Sadhya, take this dead body away from here. I cannot allow you to remain here with this dead body. I have no pity on you. Taking her child's body in her arms and weeping, she went to the cremation ground. At that time, Harish Chandra was the guard of that impure place. In the darkness, he couldn't recognize his wife or son. He asked dispassionately, who is here weeping? First, you must give the tax for cremation, and then you can use this facility. At that moment, lightning flashed, and he could see the woman before him was indeed Sadhya. He was bewildered, not knowing if he should identify himself as her husband, now that he had already sold her and her son, or himself as the father of the dead boy, or himself as king, or himself as the crematorium guard. Just then, Vishwamitra appeared with Yamaraj, or Dharmaraj, and Lord Narayan also came. They brought Harish Chandra's son back to life and told him to take any boon. Vishwamitra told them that in this life as a king, he had been misguided by illusion. He said, in this world, no one can speak the truth. Your name is not Harish Chandra. Who told him this? Okay, Vishwamitra told Harish Chandra that in this world no one can speak the truth. Your name is not Harish Chandra. This is the name of your gross body. And what is this body made of? It is merely a combination of blood, flesh, urine, and stool. You don't know that your soul is the eternal servant of Lord Krishna. If you are thinking, I am the father, husband, king, etc., how are you speaking the truth? You should know that you are part and parcel of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You are not part of this world. So forget all false conceptions. Try to serve Krishna and chant his names. Harish Chandra accepted all this, but he had one request. Please don't give such a hard test to the jivas in Kali Yuga. They will never be able to pass your test. They will always fail. Harish Chandra was doing what we want to do, Varnashram Dharma, and he was following and worshipping Lord Vishnu more seriously than we can. But he did not have any idea that we are transcendental, or that we are eternal servants of Krishna. This is our main problem. If you are thinking, I am the doer, or even thinking, I am giving something to Krishna, this is not pure bhakti. That is why it has been said in Bhagavad Gita 1866, Sarva dharmam prityaja mamekam sharanam vraja, aham tam sarva papebhyo mokshayishami ma suja. What is the meaning of the shloka? Shripad Madhav Maharaj. Ramananda Rai is now giving the suggestion from Bhagavad Gita when Krishna has instructed Arjuna, O Arjuna, give up all temporary dharma and all activities and conceptions which are in relationship to the temporary material body and mind. Surrender yourself and take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By doing so, you will be freed from all sinful reactions. Do not be afraid. This seems to be a very transcendental and excellent suggestion. But upon hearing this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave the response, Oh my dear Ramananda Rai, this is external. I also reject this. Tell me something more. Age kaho ar. The eternal occupation of the soul is to render loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in a relationship with Him. Sharanagati, surrender, is mainly the rejection of things which are temporary and unfavorable for spiritual development. In Sharanagati, we have not yet realized that our relationship with the Supreme Lord, with possessiveness and with love and affection. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also rejected this conception as being the goal of life. In and of itself, surrender to the Supreme Lord is not directly bhakti. It is not the positive and eternal perfect activity of the soul. Rather, it is considered to be the doorway of bhakti. Yeah, that's right. We learned in our Shloka group that we memorized verses. So Sharanagati is synonymous with Shraddha, and Shraddha is the very, very first stage of sadhana. So yeah, it's just the doorway to bhakti, just beginning. If you want to enter any building, first you have to come to a door. You cannot walk through the wall. If anyone is hearing, chanting, remembering, and serving Krishna, but they have not first surrendered themselves completely, saying, O Krishna, I am yours, I depend fully on you, I accept everything which is favorable for bhakti and reject all things which are unfavorable. You are my protector, you are my maintainer. I will always be meek and humble, and will have no interest separate from your interests. If that person doesn't have that, hasn't surrendered themselves saying that, then his activities will not be called pure devotional service. Unless one has accepted these 6 limbs of Sharanagati before he renders his devotional service, his service will be an imitation, like a drama. The first thing is surrender. This surrender is not bhakti, but it is prerequisite to enter the bhakti realm. Srila Gurudeva, I have heard a story of Jesus Christ. Once there were many persons assembled, and taking stones in their hands, they wanted to kill a guilty person. This person had a very bad character, and he had been attracted to a lady. He caught hold of her, and he did some bad things. So many persons were assembled, and they wanted to kill him with the stones. At that moment, Jesus Christ came there and told them, "Oh, listen to me first. If you want to kill this person with your I want you to kill this person with your stones. I also have a stone, so we will throw all these stones at him together and kill him. But first hear me. Only those of you who are not guilty of the same crime are allowed to stone him. Whoever is personally guilty of any bad activities, whoever has done as this person has, may not do so." All of them stopped. No one there was pure in heart and free from the guilt of the same crime. Although we see some mercy in this instance, we should try to know that this mercy is not real mercy. The Supreme Personality has created all creatures, trees, insects, fish, cows, and every other living being. And in every body there is a soul. It is a misconception to think that the soul is only in the human body, and we should therefore only serve the human race. What were Florence Nightingale and Mother Teresa doing? They were serving all the diseased and poor people, even those with leprosy. However, they gave them beef, meat, fish, and wine, and they thought that there was no harm in that. They did not know that fish also have life, cows also have life, and all others have life, just like human beings. We are not authorized to kill any living being in any species of life, because they are all sons and daughters of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who never wants them to be killed. The cow is like a mother. She gives milk without considering caste and creed. She gives milk to everyone, whether such persons are Mohammedan, Indian, American, or anyone else. We can therefore think of her as a mother who gives her breast milk. If one takes a new calf and kills him for her meat, what is this? Is this mercy? I went to Vatican City and I became happy to see the great monument there. There are hundreds of thousands of pilgrims there, all paying their respects, and I also wanted to pay respects. Oh, Jesus Christ, how glorious you are. Then, seeing some very beautiful and soft calves, only 2 or 3 days old, I asked, why are there so many calves here? And then, you don't know? The Pope will take their flesh today. He will invite so many of his friends, and they will eat all of them. I then began to hate that land, and said, I should not spend another moment here. I should go away. These people are as cruel as butchers. They have no pity or mercy upon these cows and calves, nor upon anyone else. What are eggs? If you want to take eggs, you can take an egg from your mother's womb. That is also a kind of egg. So we should not take all these things. Rather, we should know that the soul is everywhere, not only in the human body. Therefore, service only to humankind is not service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is essential to know this. Mahaprabhu therefore rejected the consideration of sarva dharma parityaja as the goal. What to speak of all these other things? Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. So that's the very beginning of Rāya Rāmananda Samvad, the very introduction. Okay, my God, that was a long class. If I would have read it, I would have just read this if I realized how long that was. Anyhow, let's read this by Śrīla Bhakti Vijñāna Bharatī Gosvāmī Mahārāja. Let's see if the internet's still working. Okay. Oh, thanks for sharing that, Jai. One should understand the meaning. Shraddha and Sharanagati is the same. Yes, great. Alright, so now we're going to be reading this class by Śrīla Bhakti Vijñāna Bharatī Gosvāmī Mahārāja. It was given on the same Titi on May 19th, 2014, and also May 26th, 2016. Today is a special day. It is the disappearance day of Ramananda Rai, an eternal associate of the Lord. By worldly considerations, he appeared in the village of Bentapur, near Alarnath, Odisha. While approaching Alarnath from Puri, it is just off the main road to the right. His father was Bhavananda Rai, who had 5 sons. Ramananda Rai was the governor of Rajamundri during the reign of Mahārāja Prataparudra, whose kingdom stretched to the banks of Godavari and Andhra Pradesh. Unlike the governors of today, he had much power. At that time, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was the topmost scholar in India in the field of Nyaya and Vedanta Shastra. That is why Mahārāja Prataparudra had invited him to Odisha from Navadvip to become the chief scholar of his court. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya pursued Smarta ideals, the belief that the Supreme Reality is ultimately impersonal, Brahman, and enlightenment means to realize that the soul is one with Brahman. He was a follower of Shankaracharya and harbored the conception Jivo Brahmaiva Napara. The individual is none other than God. Knowing Ramananda Rai to be a Vaishnav, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya considered him a mere sentimentalist and did not hold him in high regard. In fact, he disliked him. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya couldn't gauge the true glory of Ramananda Rai until Mahaprabhu bestowed his mercy upon him. But by the mercy of Mahaprabhu, Sarvabhauma eventually turned to Vaishnavism and understood the glories of Vaishnavas. When Mahaprabhu was setting out on a tour of South India to spread his mercy under the pretext of searching for his brother Vishwarup, Sarvabhauma said, "When you visit South India, there is only one person worthy of your meeting, Ramananda Rai." Here's a picture. Never seen that picture before. After Mahaprabhu reached the banks of Godavari, Ramananda Rai also arrived there in a palanquin to take a bath, accompanied by Brahmins and a band of musicians. After bathing as per the scriptural injunctions, Ramananda Rai noticed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was taken aback, witnessing a sannyasi as effulgent. He noticed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he was taken aback, witnessing a sannyasi as effulgent as 100 suns. Upon noticing him, Mahaprabhu inquired, "Are you Ramananda Rai?" He then very humbly responded, "Yes, I am your very low servant, and I belong to the Sudra community." Despite hearing this, Mahaprabhu embraced him, for he was a devotee. The Vedic Brahmins, the stereotype ritualistic Brahmins, who had accompanied Ramananda Rai to help him chant the mantras, were disconcerted. Although this sannyasi has so much effulgence, he is embracing a Sudra. And even though Ramananda Rai is a very grave aristocrat, his dealings with the sannyasi are perplexing. Chaitanya Dev, realizing that the Brahmins were being vijatiya, outsiders, and unfavorable, they would misinterpret the symptoms of Hari Bhakti, and so he restrained his transcendental emotions. He requested Ramananda Rai to meet with him alone. That night, dressed in ordinary clothes and bringing only one servant along with him, Ramananda Rai met Chaitanya Dev in a solitary place. Unique feature of Chaitanya Dev's teachings. Sri Chaitanya Dev always taught according to time, place, and person. This is the unique feature of his teachings. The first time Mahaprabhu met Sanatana Gosvāmī, the latter did not ask, "Who am I?" Only when Sanatana Gosvāmī met Mahaprabhu at Kashi did he ask the question, "Ke ami, kene amai jare tapatrai, iha nahi jani, kemona hitta hoy." Who am I? Why do the threefold miseries always give me trouble? If I do not know this, how can I be benefited? That's from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 2102. So why? Because Kashi is a place of Mayavadis. There everybody says, "Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahma." Jivo Brahmaiva na para. The individual is none other than God. That is why Mahaprabhu inspired Sanatana Gosvāmī to pose such a question at Kashi. And in response to the query, Mahaprabhu extolled the Siddhanta that the constitutional position of the living entity is to be an eternal servant of Krishna. Mayavadis say, "Aham Brahmasmi," but Mahaprabhu said, "Krishner Nityadas," not Brahman. Similarly, at Prayag, Dashashwamedha Ghat, where sacrifices, yagyas are performed as a means to fulfill desires, Mahaprabhu used Rupa Goswami as an instrument and taught the process of devotional service. What does Dash Ashwamedha stand for? It means controlling our 10 senses represented by 10 Dash horses, Ashva. This can be done by engaging the senses in the service of the Lord by Bhakti. Sarvapadi vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam hrishikena hrishikesha sevanam bhaktir uchate. Śrī Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 19:170. Bhakti, or devotional service, means engaging all our senses in the service of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Master of all the senses. When the spirit soul renders service unto the Supreme, there are two side effects. One is freed from all material designations, and one's senses are purified simply by being employed in the service of the Lord. Mahaprabhu taught this lesson. This is real Dash Ashwamedha. It is not the killing of 10 horses. Your senses are the horses. Your senses run faster than horses. While sitting here, your senses will travel to America. Can a horse do this? Controlling this is Ashwamedha. What lesson did Mahaprabhu teach on the banks of Godavari? The people there are more karmakandi, oriented towards performing ritualistic fruitive activities. They understand only karma. So there, Mahaprabhu established the Siddhanta of Prema Bhakti. Roles swapped. Generally, devotees inquire and the Lord replies. But here, the Lord is inquiring and the devotee is answering. Kaviraj Goswami has explained this in the first shloka itself. And Madhya Lila 8.1. Sancharya Rama Bhida Bhakta Mege Subhakti Siddhanta Chai Amritani Korabdhiretar Amuna Vitirnais Taj Gyatvaratna Layatam Prayati. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is known as Gauranga, is the ocean of all-conclusive knowledge and devotional service. He empowered Śrī Ramananda Rai, who may be likened to a cloud of devotional service. This cloud was filled with the water of all the conclusive purports of devotional service, and was empowered by the ocean to spread this water over the sea of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. Thus the ocean of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became filled with the jewels of the knowledge of pure devotional service. There's a picture. Mahaprabhu and Rāya Rāmananda. Chaitanya Dev empowered and provided water to the cloud personified by Ramananda Rai. And that same cloud rained over Chaitanya Dev, who represented the ocean. Just like the ocean water evaporates to form a cloud, and then it rains over the ocean itself. Actually, the same ocean water is coming back in another form. Is there any advantage in this? Yes, there is. The rainwater is sweet, unlike the salty ocean water. Besides, it produces conch shells, pearls, and so on within the ocean, which is not possible otherwise. Similarly, when the devotee likens to a cloud, showers upon the sea, represented by the Lord, the jewels of Siddhanta, knowledge, are produced. Thus, through Ramananda Rai, Śrī Chaitanya Mahaprabhu established the Siddhanta of Prem Bhakti. What is the ultimate goal of our sadhana? Mahaprabhu started by asking Ramananda, Poro Shloka Sadhera Nirnay, Śrī Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 857. What is the ultimate goal of life? What is the sadhya? Please respond based on evidence from the scriptures. Sadhya is what we attain by performing sadhana. In other words, Mahaprabhu asked, what is the object of our sadhana? Ramananda Rai replied, Swadharma Charane Vishnu Bhakti Hoy. This means only by Swadharma Charan, by performing prescribed duties as per Varna and Ashram, we get Vishnu Bhakti. Ramananda Rai gave evidence from the Vishnu Puran 389. Varnashrama charavata purushena parapuman Vishnur aradhate panta nanyatatoshakaranam. Śrī Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 858. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, is worshipped by the proper execution of prescribed duties in the system of Varna and Ashram. There is no other way to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One must be situated in the institution of the four Varnas and Ashrams. In other words, the sadhya, or goal, is Vishnu Bhakti, and the process, the sadhana, or process, is to perform the prescribed duties as per Varna and Ashram. This indicates that without Varna and Ashram, one cannot perform Hari Bhakti. But did Chaitanya Dev give precedence to this? No. Instead, he said, Eho Bahya, Age Koho Ar. This is external. It is not the essence. Tell me some other means. Although in one sense this is also sadhana, but it is just like external fencing. It should be noted that Śrī Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't state that Ramananda Rai's suggestion or the evidence provided was erroneous, or erroneous, however you say that word. He simply said, this is external. Just like a sapling is initially covered with a fence for protection, but when it grows into a strong tree, the fencing is no longer required. Eho Bahya, similarly, while constructing a building, scaffolding is set up. However, when the construction is complete, the scaffolding is no longer required, and the builder insists on removing the scaffolding as it disrupts the overall look. But while the construction is in progress, he would never demand such a thing because at that time it is necessary. I experienced this practically while constructing the Pushpa Samadhi of Guru Mahārāja in Vrindavan. When the marble was fixed and the support was applied on top of it, many advised me to remove the scaffolding as it would obstruct the beauty of the Samadhi structure. They said, it doesn't look good in the photos. But since the marble was just laid the day before, the support was necessary for it to get set properly. Similarly, Varnashram Dharma is essential to keep one regulated. Classification is essential. Classifications based on Varnashram are necessary in society. Consider hospitals, for instance. They have a systematic structure: general ward, orthopedic ward, surgical ward, cardiac ward. Everything is organized into sections, which makes it convenient for the patients and doctors, as well as the visitors and staff. The patients receive specialized treatment in specialized wards, while the doctors are assigned only to the patients afflicted by illnesses in their field of specialization. So such classification is very much helpful. In Hyderabad, one brahmachari was admitted in the orthopedic department of a local hospital. So we had to arrange for prasad as per his prescribed diet to be delivered to him from our mat. Although I was also unwell at the same time, I wanted to ensure that the devotees were taking good care of him, and that the prasad was being delivered punctually. Upon inquiring, I found out that some person had gone to the hospital but could not find the brahmachari, and so had to return without delivering the prasad. I was surprised that it was difficult to find him in an ordinary hospital, so I went. By inquiry, I could easily find out where the orthopedic department was. Upon arriving, I noticed that while everybody was eating, our brahmachari was just sitting there waiting. So I gave him the prasad. The point is, I could easily find him in his ward. So isn't there benefit for the patient as well as the visitors because of this systematic classification? Similarly, the varnashram dharma is meant for the benefit of all. Now, taking the same instance forward, once the disease is cured, is it required for the patient to remain in any hospital ward? In the same way, when our disease is removed, and what is our disease? When we think of this body and all the things related to this body as ours, then we are diseased. That is why it is said that I am not a Brahman, I am not a Kshatriya, I am not a Vaishya nor a Shudra. Who am I? I identify myself only as the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. We are the Lord's das anudasa. And note 1. Now, this is called Brahma Bhutarudi, purificatory prayers. As long as, and I think you know that verse, Naham Vipra Nachara Patir Napi Vaishana Sudra Naham, that verse. That's called the Bhuta Shuddhi. As long as we do not have this Bhuta Shuddhi, we are unfit to offer even a leaf or a flower to the Lord. By saying that mantra, and this is the translation of that mantra, or that verse, then we become purified. So that's the Bhuta Shuddhi. And lots of times people chant this before they do their Gayatri mantras. When we are established in one philosophy, then we give more precedence to the practices related to that conception. That is why Sarvabhauma, who was established in Varnashram Dharma, gave more precedence to following the prescribed duties as per Varna and Ashram. But by the mercy of Chaitanya Dev and by the desire of a devotee, Sarvabhauma got convinced about Atma Tattva. The next question. Going further, Ramananda Rai quoted, Yat karoshi yarashnasi, yat juhoshi dadasi yat tapasyasi konteya, tat kurushva mad arpanam, Bhagavad Gita 9:27. Shri Krishna says, whatever you do, whatever you eat, ashnasi, whatever you offer, juhoshi, in tarpan, whatever you give, dadasi, in charity, and whatever austerities, tapasyasi, whatever austerities you perform, do it as an offering unto me. Ramananda Rai stated Bhagavad Gita as the Praman. How did Chaitanya Dev react? Eho bahya age kaho ar. This is external. In response, Ramananda Rai stated the final instruction of Bhagavad Gita, 1866. Sarva dharma parityaja mamekam sharanam braja aham tam sarva papebhyo mokshaishyami ma sucha. Lord Krishna said, give up all dharma and surrender unto me. Then I will relieve you from all of your sins. Don't worry, I give my guarantee for this. But Chaitanya Dev said that this is also external, because this kind of surrender is conditional. What is the condition? I will surrender because you will relieve me of all of my sins. This means that there is a lack of conviction in the Lord's divinity, in the Lord's Bhagavattata. That is why he needs a guarantee. If he had complete faith in the Lord, then why would this guarantee be necessary? The guarantee is needed to build faith. This means that complete, unwavering faith is still lacking. Who is the real witness? Our gross body is short-lived. The subtle body, made up of mind, intelligence, and ego, sustains longer. But our soul, the Atma, is eternal. Just by introspecting a little, we can understand this. Just like we are sitting here and talking, we are fully awake and alert. This is one condition. When we rest, we experience either deep sleep or light sleep. In the case of the latter, we dream. In one such dream, upon seeing a tiger or a thief, we may scream, but externally our mouth may remain shut. Because this is not the act of the gross body. Sometimes we experience that someone even shouts at night and awakens others. So who actually shouted? Has anyone thought about this? When a person experiences a deep state of dreamless sleep, he confirms upon awakening. I have never before experienced such deep sleep. In this case, who is the witness? The individual was obvious in a deep state of sleep, so how could he experience anything? Actually, the soul experienced the deep sleep. The phenomenon of a dream takes place at the level of the subtle body and is witnessed by the soul. When one is established in this conception of the soul, then all these considerations on the bodily platform dissipate. This is called Atma Tattva. When we are not established in Atma Tattva, then everything is external. So when Ramananda Rai said that Sarva Dharma Parityaja, Chaitanya Dev did not accept it. Ramananda Rai further quoted Brahmastava, Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.03. Jnane prayasam udupasya namantam eva jivanti sanmukaritam bhavadiya vartam stane stita shutigatam tanuvam manobhir he prayasho jita jito pyasitais trilokyam. Jnane prayasam udupasya. The attempts to acquire knowledge by using the senses should be relinquished. The idea of amassing knowledge should be thrown out. The conception that we can see the reality with our eyes, hear with our ears, smell with our nose, touch with our skin, taste with our tongue should be abandoned. Just like Chaitanya Dev threw away all the dust and pebbles from the Gundicha temple outside its premises, such that even the wind would not carry them back inside. Namanta eva, then surrender. Surrender unto whom? Not Bhagavan, but Jivanti Sammukaritam. Regulate and lead your life based on Hari Katha emanating from the lotus mouth of the sadhu. Stane stita. Reside wherever there is association of devotees. Then surrender by Tanu Vang Manobhir, by your body, mind, and tongue. Then the unconquerable, the Ajita Bhagavan, can be conquered. Who conquers? A Bhakta. With what? With Bhakti. In all the three worlds, only the devotee can conquer the Lord, no one else. One cannot conquer him by jnana, yoga, or tapasya. Durvasa had so much power by dint of his austerities. He tried to chastise Ambarish Mahārāja, a devotee of Śrī Hari, and even created a demon to kill him. But could he harm Ambarish Mahārāja in the least? In the end, he had to surrender to Ambarish Mahārāja only, by the instruction of Lord Hari himself. From this incident, it can be seen that other than Hari Bhakti, there is no other way to conquer the Lord. Why did Ramananda Rai mention this? Because Karma Kanda was prominent in that part of the country. And in this way, they discussed further. Come to Puri. In the end, Ramananda Rai said, Pahile dikilo tomar sanyasi swarup, ebe toma deki mui shama goparup. So, see, we just did the first couple verses of Raya Ramananda Samvad, and see, Raya Ramananda Samvad goes up to verse 268. So, yeah, we just did the very introduction with both my Gurudeva and now Śrīla Bhakti Vijñāna Bharatī Gosvāmī. And most of Ramananda Rai Samvad is, like the majority of it, is like very high, talking about the love of the gopis and then ultimately Srimati Radhika. And it goes into such a high place that Mahaprabhu has to cover Ramananda Rai's mouth and say, okay, you've spoken enough. So anyways, but at the end of all that, now, Ramananda Rai then told Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, at first I saw you appear like a sannyasi, but now I am seeing you as Sham Sundar, the cowherd boy. You are Krishna, but you appear like Kanchana Panchalika, a golden doll. You are covered by the Anga Kanti, by bodily luster of Radharani. Ramananda Rai beseeched, if you have come to rectify me, what can be achieved in such a short time? Please stay for a little longer. Chaitanya Dev responded, O Ramananda, as long as I live, I would like to have your association, so please come to Puri. When Ramananda Rai asked Mahārāja Prataparudra to relieve him of his duties, citing Mahaprabhu's request as the reason, Mahārāja Prataparudra not only instantly relieved him, but also continued to pay him the same salary. Quickly, Ramananda Rai settled all of the matters of the state and moved to Jagannath Puri. Mahārāja Prataparudra was also a great devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The only qualification for becoming guru is Hari Bhakti. When the eternal associates of the Lord appear in this world, they are oblivious of their eternal identity. This is just to facilitate the Lord's pastimes, otherwise the essence would be lost. Ramananda Rai is Vishaka Saki in Vrajalila. In Puri, Ramananda Rai used to teach Hava Bhav, gestures and expressions, to some Devadasis to enact the Jagannath Vallabh Natak play, which he himself had composed. In this genre, the actors don't speak. Instead, they portray the script via the medium of facial expressions and bodily movements. Now this is called a Disi dance. In Geet Govinda, the story of the Lord is taking form of Narasinghadev and killing Hiranyakashipu, and other pastimes have been depicted in this way. In the beginning, one finds it difficult to grasp, but upon being exposed to it twice or thrice, something can be understood. So Ramananda Rai used to teach the Devdasis how to enact the play. There was a person called Pradyumna Mishra, the Mahashabar, chief cook of Lord Jagannath. He went to Chaitanya Dev with a desire to hear Harikatha, but Chaitanya Dev said, "I don't know anything. Ramananda Rai knows." When Pradyumna Mishra went to see Ramananda Rai, he heard that he was decorating and massaging the Devdasis. This shook his faith in Ramananda Rai. When he went back to Chaitanya Dev, Mahaprabhu said, "Ek Ramananda hoy e adhikar, tate jane aprakrita deha tahar." Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya 542. The authority for such acts is the prerogative of Ramananda Rai alone, for I can understand that his body is not material, but has been completely transformed into a spiritual entity. Making Ramananda Rai an instrument, Mahaprabhu gave the lesson that only one who has Making Ramananda Rai an instrument, Mahaprabhu gave the lesson that only one who has Hari Bhakti can be a guru. Just by being a Brahmin or a Mishra, that is not enough. This lesson he taught us through Ramananda Rai, who is not a Brahmin. We don't have the qualification to act like this. Today is Ramananda Rai's disappearance day, so we will pray for his mercy. If he is merciful, we can get the fortune of entering into the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Dev. All right, and if anybody has time, you can read this by Srila Bhakti Vallabha Tirtha Goswami Maharaj. Let's just read this first. So there's this verse from Gauragana-Dashtipika, Priya Nama Saka Kashtir, Arjuna Pandavo Arjuna, Militva Samavur. I'm not going to read that all, but there are two Arjunas in Krishna Lila. One is a Priya Nasaka and Braj, and the other is one of the Pandavas. These two combine to become Ramananda Rai, the dear companion of Mahaprabhu. He was very knowledgeable in the teachings of loving devotion to Radha and Krishna, which he described to Gaura Chandra on a daily basis. Some people say that Ramananda Rai was Lalita Saki, while others do not. Mahaprabhu himself told Bhavananda Rai that he was Pandu, the husband of Kunti and the father of the Pandavas. The Pandava Arjuna also united with a gopi named Arjunia. Thus, the most aware say that Ramananda Rai combined all these three personalities. Proof of this is found in the Padma Puran, where it is stated that the Pandava Arjuna became the Gopi Arjunia. Gauragana-Dashtipika 120-124. Usually we hear Ramananda Rai as being Vishaka Saki. That's really interesting. It says some people say that Ramananda Rai was Lalita Saki. Anyhow, let's see. As stated in these verses from Gauragana-Dashtipika, some people hold that Ramananda Rai was an incarnation of Lalita. Some others are of the opinion that he was Vishaka. In his commentary on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes, This is Chaitanya Charitamrita 2.8.23. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes, the same love which Vishaka had for Radha and Krishna in Vraj, and the love which Radha and Krishna had for Vishaka, awakened in them when they met. Thus it is clear that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur saw Ramananda Rai as Vishaka. Ramananda Rai was one of the Lord's 3.5 most intimate associates. The Lord accepted Shiki Mahiri's sister as one of Radha's friends. In the entire world, there were only 3.5 devotees who were so worthy. They were Swarup Damodar Goswami, Ramananda Rai, and Shiki Mahiri. His sister was the half-person. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya 2.105-6. 106. Alright, so I'm not going to read all this because they already started serving out prasada a while ago. I don't want to miss it all. But if you want to read this by Srila Bhakti Ballabha Goswami Maharaj, you can, I'll put the link in the description. In the comments. Here's the link. Okay, I'm streaming this in a few different places at once, and so it won't, can't post messages to some channels. Just curious what channel. Okay. Okay, so this is only going on the Facebook public page and on YouTube. Interesting. Okay. All right. I was going to do kirtan, but it's actually a bit late, so I'm just going to stop now. So sorry about that. Let's do Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. Oh, and I'm just, while I do Jaidwani, I'm just, in case that didn't go in the comments, I'm just going to put the link here so that you can see. This is the article by Srila Bhakti Ballabha Goswami Maharaj. How come it's not coming? Oh, wait, I click on this. All right, so if you want to read that article, the rest of the article by Srila Bhakti Ballabha Goswami Maharaj, you can type in that link. Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai. Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtatara Shatashmad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtatara Shatashmad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtatara Shatashmad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtatara Shatashmad Srila Bhakti Vigyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtatara Shatashmad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitila Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Srila Goksharas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitila Pravishta Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Nitila Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhattadash Raghunath Shara Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Raya Ramananda Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai. Nama Chai Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaur Mandala Vaja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sarva Abhishta Pradati Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Radha Kun Shama Kun Ki Jai. Shri Mona Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya ki jai, Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Śrī Rāya Rāmananda ki jai, Tatiya Shubha Tirubhav Titi ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Rāya Rāmananda Prabhu here says, Rāya Rāmananda Tirubhav Titi ki jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Vo. Nitila Pravishwam Vishwapad Bhakti Vijñāna Bharati Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. Nitila Pravishwam Vishwapad Bhakti Ballabha Tirtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Vo. Can't read their words and not give them jai. Right. Vanchakalp Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashacha Krishna Bhakti Pradudevi Satyavataya Namo Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyashta Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat Pranams. Oh, and Nrsimha Prabhu is saying, yes, Srila Gaura Govinda Goswami Maharaj should also say that Ramananda Raya is Vishaka. Alright, cool. Alright, Dandavat Pranams, and sorry I didn't get time to sing today. I wanted to sing Kalayati Nayanam, which is written by Raya Ramananda, but I'm also feeling very hungry, and it's 9:18 right now, so I gotta run. Alright, Dandavat Pranams. Thanks for reading with me. Haribol.